Okay, you guys, we are going to have some fun today. And I don't know why it does this. I try to do speaker view so I'm bigger, but then it pulls up random people and I don't understand why. Um, I know, we'll do gallery. So today I was just telling my mom, we're just gonna rewind. I was like, my mom was like, why do you do these Friday calls? And I said, here's the thing. I realized that I'm really good at training and that there are some things that have maybe come naturally to me that like don't necessarily come naturally to everybody. And so you have these like almost like systematic things in your head that if they don't get spit out, then you're doing them and you don't realize that nobody else is doing them because everybody comes into this with like their own strengths. And so that's why we're doing these calls is so that really I can have a space to get out training that is hopefully going to help all of y'all grow the goal an emerald business with 4 solid legs. That's really when I look at like what is the goal? Because the goal doesn't always happen. You may achieve emerald with 2 solid legs, but you're working really hard to develop 2 other legs, right? You can't control the situation, but if you're kind of in your mind, you're like, I am actively working to have 4 really solid level 1 leader legs. Unless you have somebody like Allie, who's actually my level 2, but she's my level 1 for all intents and purposes, right? So like that would be the exception. But I think that's the why. Like, why are we doing these calls? To get you the training and the skill set and to be able to practice the things you need to practice to get to that point of developing and building 4 solid legs, which to some of y'all are like, I just want one person to share with me, right? Others of you are like, I have 1 really solid leader leg, or I have 2 really solid leader legs. And sometimes we have to be reminded a table with 2 legs can fall over really easily. And that was the reminder I got when I met with Genevieve. Some of y'all were here. We had a one-on-one meeting about 3 years ago because no other emeralds in Dallas showed up. It was like an open training for emeralds and nobody else showed up. It was crazy. And she was like, Tracy, I'm so excited that you have 2 solid leader legs. How sturdy is a table with 2 legs? And I was like, yeah, it's going to fall over. She was like, I mean, you might could balance it for a little bit, but yeah, ultimately it's going to fall over, right? And so that really shifted things for me. So what we're going to talk about today is the 3 for sure, arguably 4 times that you should always talk about the business with every customer. When I was having new customers coming in, I didn't want to be pushy. Drop a 1 in the chat if you don't want to be pushy. I hear it like every single day. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be pushy. Okay, drop a 2 in the chat if equally you don't want to be pushy, but you would also like to know if somebody does have thoughts of the business in their head. Drop a 2. Okay. Sometimes we don't know because we don't ask. And we just expect that somebody is going to join you and just be like, I want to try the products and I'm very interested in the opportunity to share Plexus with others. And while that has happened, okay, it's happened to multiple of us that somebody has maybe said that once or twice. It is not the norm. It is not the rule. It is not something you ever want to rely on, okay? And so what we know is this: if you don't ask, you won't receive. If you don't ask, you won't find. If you're not looking, you may look right over somebody who has been praying for this opportunity, but they don't think they could ever do this. And so it would be almost embarrassing to them to say it to you. But the moment you open the door about it, it allows them the space to share, like, you know what, I have been praying about something like this, or man, I don't know if I could do something like that. I really am, and makes me nervous, right? And then you can have a conversation. So the 3 like slam dunk times that you want to do this, and y'all, this used to kind of be a part of the customer care system, but like, I think, Rachel, we were talking about this the other day. You can have such a concise system for something that it becomes robotic, or like, let's say Amy doesn't like the system, she just leaves things out. I'm not saying you do, but like, you know what I'm saying? If you see it and you're like, I don't feel comfortable with that, I'm just not going to do that part. And so what we're trying to do moving forward here is give you guys blueprints and train you to help you build confidence in doing the things. Because we had these 20-step process systems, and the reality of the situation was nobody felt confident talking about the opportunity, and so they weren't. Right? So we got a blueprint for customer care. We're adding people to Wellness Warriors. We're getting people the Getting Started guide. We're checking in on people and sending a detox video. We went over this last week. We're reminding people of their sub. And then, y'all, it felt so light and easy to check in with my friend Christina yesterday and say, hey, girl, I know you're on vacation. I didn't want to forget to do my monthly check-in. How are you doing on Plexus? Is there anything I need to know? I love that question. Is there anything I need to know? She was like, girl, I'm doing great. I'll message you after I get back from vacation. Thanks for checking on me. It's like, okay, y'all, that feels really light and easy. I don't need to try to micromanage that situation. I don't need to come back to that and be like, is she actually doing great? Like, right? Can you tell me when you're taking things? Are you right? Like, we can just go into all of these just making a mountain a molehill, kind of like making a molehill a mountain or whatever. And so that is what we're doing. So the 3 times that we're surely going to talk about the opportunity, and y'all, this is in addition to customer care, because now you know what you're looking for. And the reality is there are some people signing customers who don't want to build a team. And so this is not something that they might be trained on until they do want to build a team. They might just stick with the customer care system because that's all they really want right now. And y'all, I want you to know there's a space for that. It doesn't mean that it's a failure. It doesn't mean that they're not following the system. It just means like, I want customers. I don't want to build a team. And so while I've adopted this blueprint, like, I'm not yet ready for this blueprint. But when they come to you and they say, I realize it's going to feel like a revolving wheel so long as I have customers. I think I'm ready to build a team. You can say, oh my gosh, I have this blueprint for a second floor. Do you want to go ahead and see it? Right? So here's what it is. 3 times you always talk about the opportunity with Plexus. Okay? When they order, when their products arrive, and when they see results. Okay? An arguable 4th time would be if you are doing bold business reach outs, right? Cami did a bold business reach out that led to a new customer. Not necessarily interested in the opportunity yet, but she was interested in the product. So that's kind of the arguable 4th time. If you are actively looking for business builders, you might be leading with the business in your messages. So what does that look like when somebody joins? Okay. Kind of unmute yourselves. When you're enrolling people, are you typically doing that over the phone or via Messenger?
Both.
Both.
Messenger
Messenger.
or WhatsApp.
WhatsApp.
If
Messenger.
I can get them on the phone, that's preferable. If
Yeah.
that doesn't work, then I send them a link.
I mean, are you saying like on the phone before they become a VIP? When in the process do you do that?
Like, how are you enrolling people? Are you sending them just, here's your cart, let me know when you check out, or are you getting people on the phone to talk them through that?
I
No.
actually enroll them and then I send them their information in an email so they can look at it, but I want to make sure they're getting under me.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one where best, right? We have good, better, best. Best, sharing a cart and calling and walking them through it. We used to say best was like getting their info and doing it for them. Best is actually you sharing the cart and saying, hey, can I call you and walk you through this? Being on the phone with them while they're placing that order. And on that call, you're going to ask a simple question. And y'all, this is where there are so many different trainings. I'm sure Brittany and Christina are going to talk about this when they're talking about their Joule, like going for Joule in their breakout session. I know Christina's favorite question is like, hey, I'm so curious, when you love the products, are you going to tell people about them? That's one way to ask. You could say, hey, we know that people are 80% more likely to see results with accountability partners. Who do you know that might want to do this with you? You could say, hey, we have these specials going. I'm so curious. Do you know anybody who might want to do this with you? You could say, I'm so excited for you to get started on the products. I also want you to know there's an income opportunity available with Plexus by sharing and helping others. Do you have any interest in learning more about that? Y'all, this is where when things are systemized out the booty, it takes your creativity away from there. And the reality of the situation is Rochelle's from Idaho and I'm from Texas, and our messages, they should sound different. They just should. And honestly, I kind of change my message every time based on the person I'm talking to. If they're a dream teamer, I'm going to insert a like, if we're messaging, I'm going to do a voice message. I'm going to be like, hey, Stephanie, I'm so excited for you to get started on the products. Look, I know that you know what I'm doing with Plexus, but just in case you don't, I'm looking for leaders to come build businesses with me. Do you keep your opportunities for income open? Because I think you would be incredible to partner with in this. Like, it may be that bold if it's somebody that I'm like, darn it, I was going to send them a business ask and now they reached out to me about the products and I don't know how to go back there, right? I want to get that ask out there as soon as possible. But y'all, that is kind of like in your head when you're enrolling people, it's like share the cart, see if they have any interest in the opportunity. Okay. So then when their products arrive, this is the second time. Now, you know, we've got the getting started guide to send them with the ease in schedule and tips for success. And you're going to ask them, hey, will you tell me when your products arrive so I can go ahead and mark down your day one? I love knowing the day that my customers start. It also gives them a little bit of pressure to kind of, I told her Monday, I told her Tuesday, I told her Friday, right? What day do you think you're going to start? Okay, that's awesome. Hey, Amy, look, I know that you said maybe you weren't ready to talk to friends, but a lot of times I ask my new customers just to shout me out in a post for helping them get started. That way, if there is anybody you know, you could make some bonuses and you could help them feel great. If I sent you a post, would you make it? Y'all, we do something when they get their products. It doesn't have to be a post. It can be, oh my gosh, I know you're so excited to get started. I can't believe you got our products. Okay, did you think of anybody you want to tell about this, to do this with you? It can be any of these things, but this is, you know, raise your hand if you've ever gotten confused with all the different tools for sharing the opportunity that we have. Shout out post, bold business ask, who do you know? Right? Like there's so many. What I want you to see is how it's not one or the other. It's literally like you're using almost every tool for every person. Okay. So when they order, when they get their products, when they see results, and y'all, this third one, it ebbs and flows because we know some people are going to see results in a day. Y'all, how many of y'all have had a customer be like, oh my gosh, I didn't want soda today. Just drank a pink drink. What in the world? And then other people, it's like, okay, I'm 60 days in and I'm going to go to 90. And it's at like day 120 where they're like, my health has been transformed. You can't rush this one. You've got to let them share the win, which is why we do monthly check-ins and we learn to ask good questions like, what's your favorite thing about Plexus? What's your favorite win you've had since you've started on the products? And y'all, when they tell you, you're going to come back and y'all, Allie Hostin slam dunks this message every time. Oh my gosh, Rachel. I know so many other moms who would kill to feel as good as you're feeling right now. Look, I know you said you weren't interested in sharing these products when we first talked about it, but I am just wondering, have things changed for you? Because I really feel like your story could help a lot of people. Y'all, different asks, different times. All a part of the blueprint. And honestly, like, it can't be systemized in the boom, 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 boom type way, because you've got to want it. Like, you have to want to find new shares. You have to want that consistency of those asks over and over and over again. And then when they see a result again, oh my gosh, Rochelle, look, you've been on the products for like a year now. This is incredible. Y'all, this was Courtney Mitchell. Okay. She's 3 months postpartum with her son. She's not taking naps. She's dropped her baby weight already. And I was like, Courtney, I know you said that you weren't quite ready. You've hopped on a couple opportunity calls, but I am just wondering, are you ready now? Because I know that you've told me the income would be incredible, and I really think your story could help people. And she was like, yes. Like, that was the answer. Yes. A year in, probably 5 or 6 business asks in. And yes. I was like, yes, yes. Like, really? Yes. Like, okay. Can you fill out this jot form? That was my next question, because I was like, what does yes mean? Like, what does the yes mean? And y'all, we've gotten together for breakfast since then. We've gotten on a couple of Zooms, and the yes meant this: I'm ready and at a place in my health and in my life. Have such a need financially that I'm ready to not be able to control whether people want what I have or not. She said, I didn't think anybody would want what I have. Well, she already signed her first customer. She's about to sign her second customer. Like, she messaged me when Lindsay joined. She was like, yes, people do want what I have. And I was like, right? Like, they do. And she goes, I would have never. How many of y'all, somebody joined you that you're like, I would have never messaged you. Never. Right? And like, that's why we do it. And so it's not even this like, did it work or did it not? Did any of those messages feel pushy? Do you think if you had a customer who was thinking, oh, dear Lord, I need to make money or I'm not going to be able to afford these products, do you think you would be able to figure that out in those first 3 asks? I'd say probably, Rochelle. Probably so. If you're asking multiple times and getting to know them, it's going to come out somewhere. It may be like, oh, I don't think so, but gosh, I am really wondering how I'm going to afford these products next month. Usually it comes out. But what actually usually happens is usually we mention it one time in passing and we never come back again. Drop a 3 in the chat if you have VIP customers who you've never told about the opportunity with Plexus or you've never asked. Don't ask, you won't know. And if you do ask, they may say no, they may ignore you, or they might say yes. They might say yes. Well, I don't know how it happened, but after Mary Carmen and I's walk at the park, I knew if she started on these products, she was going to be a business builder. Like that was just like a part of the conversation. I'll tell you when you can, not yet. You know, Mary, like we just had talked about like all of those things. You ask everyone, and so many times I think I scare them away as VIPs. Well, I think it's when you're doing it, right? When you're doing it and how you're doing it. I need you to go now. Go. When and how. You've got to keep it passive, not aggressive. You've got to keep it as an option, not a must. You've got to keep it as a, whether you say yes or no, I am totally indifferent. And I think that's where some people do miss it, Mary. And I know we've had conversations about Spanish to English can be, you know, blunt sometimes. And you've been working on that of like warming up the speech. But that's why I think too, voice messages are really, really helpful when you're talking about the opportunity, because you can share your heart. You can say, hey, I don't think I've mentioned this before, right? If you put a 3, hey, Michelle, I just wanted to check in on you and see how you're doing on your products. Look, I am about to head to Vegas next week, and I don't think I've mentioned this to you before, but I'm at a point in my business where I am looking for people who love the products and might want to join me in this opportunity to help others and make some income for their family. Do you have any interest in learning about that side of Plexus also? It's very much like you've got the cake. Would you also like ice cream? Would you also like chocolate syrup? Would you like strawberries? Right? Would you like that too? Because if you just want to keep eating cake, you can, but some people really like ice cream. So I just wanted to see if you want it. And y'all, this is how you move forward finding business builders. If you want to grow a solid business, you need to be actively looking for 4 people who are going to share alongside of you. Not 1, not 2. We get really excited about those people and we continue looking. Okay. And so that's where this is going to be a game changer. So can we do this without it being part of the system? Can we model this for new sharers and train them how to do this without it being a board that is boom, 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 boom? Can we teach people to confidently share the opportunity by allowing them to share it with us and practice? Like we've all been doing voice messages together and practicing that. Like, this is where I think the freedom comes in. I think you being a business owner comes in because you get to look and say, here's the blueprint, and now I'm going to build out the house. And we've got the foundation for you. But if you're not gonna, if you don't learn how to talk to people those 3 times and how to help them beyond that, which is what we're going to talk about next, then what I feel like is happening is checking all the boxes and nobody's moving forward. Well, I did. I told them about the opportunity. Check. Yeah, Tracy, I've told everybody about the opportunity. Nobody wants to do it with me. Well, like, I just don't believe that anymore. I think we don't actually, for a lot of us, know what we want or what we're looking for. And so when we're having those conversations, there's no like buy into it, if that makes sense. So that is the first part. Any questions about that piece of sharing the opportunity 3 times?
I have a question, and it may be what you're talking about next.
Yeah.
But let's say I do have a new person sharing, and you're like, can you teach them how to do it? What does it look like for me to teach them? Is it me going into that and guiding, or is it me saying, hey, so and so, say this to them, or have you mentioned this? What does that look like? What's the best way to do that for a new person sharing?
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think the first 3 people they're bringing in are going to be hopefully in a 3-way message with you, and you're going to model that. Does that make sense? So you're going to model that for them. And then as you're training people, honestly, there's probably going to be a call like this where you're like, look, you're consistently bringing in customers right now. Here's the 3 times we always talk about the opportunity, because I know you want to build a business and you don't want to get stuck right away. The other thing, and this kind of takes me into what we're talking about next, is we have got to eradicate this idea that people are going to post and go silver, senior, silver, and gold, and thus makes a business builder. Most people can find 5 to 6 customers. Most people can do that. Some people come in with more influence. Most people in their first month are going to find somewhere between 3 and 6 customers. And so I was asking Genevieve, I was like, I really do. I feel like my team they're doing the bold business asks, and we have new people sharing. We have people sharing who've said, I want $1,000 by the end of 4 months, right? Like I feel like across the board, people are having these conversations. And where I told her, I said, I think people are getting stuck with like, they're doing the hardest part almost, which is like having that conversation. And then it's like, if they post or if they message 10 people and nobody says yes, or nobody's commenting, like, send me info, it's like, okay, I don't know how to help you. Like, I don't know how to help you. I had the conversation, I gave you a first post, and like, there's that. And so this was really interesting to me. She was like, oh, Tracy, she was like, okay. She was like, yes, I see this. And she said, there's a difference between a business builder and a VIP who turns into a business builder. Okay. We're having conversations with people at the beginning now who are looking for businesses. And then what we're doing is having conversations with people who are VIP customers, and they are saying, I would like to be a business builder. So immediately when they say those words, they jump here, okay? What we're almost currently doing is great for VIPs who are going to refer a few friends and share a little bit and maybe catch the vision for a business down the road. It's not going to work for a business builder. So what does that look like? Genevieve said a proper getting started meeting. So, hey, would you fill out this jot form? I love the jot form because it's going to give you a good idea of what they're looking for. And then let's schedule a 30-minute Zoom. She said the first thing you want to do is start referring to it as their business. So, man, Rochelle, I am so excited for you to start your business. Really start wording things in a way that is treating them as a business owner. I'm so excited for you to refer a few friends. No, I'm excited for you to come in and build a business. I'm so excited for your business. I'm here to help you. That phrase, I'm here to help you. What do you think your 30, 60, 90-day goals are? What about 6 months? What about a year from now? Which some of that's on the jot form. You can reference that. She said $500 is a believability number. Most people are going to say $500. I could just make, like, they believe they could get to $500. Now, some of us have had conversations with people who've said much more than that, but most people are going to say that as their first goal. Okay, y'all, this is the part that I think Allie, like, she was like, okay. All right. Mary Carmen, Who do you know that if they said yes to doing this business alongside of you, that you would have so much fun with them and you think they could be incredibly successful? Can you think of 4 people?
Are you asking me legit right now?
No, I'm just saying,
Oh,
what, like, I wish I'd asked you that the moment you said you wanted to share. Not who do you think might want to try these products with you? Who do you know that if they came in, right? Because how many leader legs are we working to develop? 4. Who do you know that if they said yes to doing this as a business with you, that they would be so much fun? Like you'd want to room together at convention, you'd want to take earned trips together. Like, who do you know? Okay, don't exclude people who already are successful. Maybe they have their own bakery, or they are lawyers or nurses or, right, teachers. Don't exclude people who already have jobs. Okay. Okay, wow. Okay, yeah. So your neighbor, Allie, Hunter, Vicky. Okay. So here's what I'm wondering. Within the next 24 to 48 hours, can you get me in front of these people? Can we do a Zoom where you invite them to join and I share a little bit about this opportunity? Can you get us on a phone call together? Can we meet for coffee if they're local? Can you get me in front of these people? She said, sometimes we jump to the let's just get you customers, and we forget about like the excitement of like people are looking for income opportunities, and likely these 4 people are going to be 4 people who she trusts and who trust her. And if she calls them, and y'all, you can give text, but it'll sound something like this. Oh my gosh, Allie, look, I have just learned about this business opportunity with Plexus. I know it's an MLM. Yes, I never thought I would do this, but the comp plan's incredible. This team is incredible. And I know you've been looking for income. And I'm just wondering, would you get on a call with my friend Tracy and just hear her out? Because I'm going to do this and I want you to do this with me. Hear her out. Would you do that? Maybe they say yes. Maybe they say no. But y'all, if we're starting here, what's that going to change for people? What's that going to change for duplication? Because what if Allie's friend Stacy says, okay, I'll hear her out. We've been looking for extra income. I don't think I want to do it, but I'll hear her out because I love you, right? And this is where, y'all, you're gonna be faking some confidence right at first. Because the more you do this, the easier it gets. You may have a bulleted list. You may ask some questions. You need to know these 2 things. If you're on this call, you are successful with Plexus. Success is relative. To somebody, success is $100. To somebody else, success is $1 million. Success is relative. If you have enrolled customers, if you have found any success with Plexus, if it has blessed your family in any way, shape, or form, you have every amount of success to lead somebody else to take steps forward to find this success for themselves. And I think one of the reasons we don't do this is because we don't actually believe we're successful. There's always something more, y'all. And you may think, Tracy, you never deal with that. Y'all, I'm not a diamond. There's always something more that you could be. Diamonds who are like, I'm not a 3-star diamond. I'm not diamond re-entry. Right? Like there's always something more. And Allie and I were having this conversation yesterday, I think. And I was like, Allie, when you started Plexus, I was like a senior gold ambassador. I think I went Ruby like right after. I said, did you think I was successful? Yes, y'all can trade. What'd you say, Allie?
Oh, I said I've always thought you were successful. Yes, yes.
Right. Michelle, I was gold when you joined me. Did you think I was successful? Yeah. Like Michelle's question was, can you help me do what you've done? And I was like, I can help you go gold. Yes. Yes, I can. I can help you go senior silver. I can help you go silver. But what we're trying to shift and do here is raise your hand if you've ever gotten stuck. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten stuck because you didn't have business builders, right? Or enough outside leg, or right, you didn't have the people you needed. Like that's why we're doing this, is because yes, on the TV. Is because the reality of the situation is if we want the growth we're gonna see and we want to bring in more people, most people we bring in aren't going to have the influence to go gold on their own, to go senior gold on their own, to go ruby on their own. Maybe every now and again that happens and we're like, yeah, like, and who are the 4 people you know that you want to do this with as a business? Because influence will run out. Even y'all, like the sister wife, Janelle Brown, she's still signing customers, but she had to find business builders. Because what did Bob Heilig say? He was like, if you're not finding a team, if you're not building a team, you are a well-paid employee. You're a well-paid employee for your time, and there is no freedom in sight. The moment you shift and start building a team and focusing on duplication and helping other people grow, he was like, you've built a machine that will one day run on its own, and you will find freedom. You build a 4-star diamond team. You see where this is going? And you continue helping more people share. Maybe you re-enter under yourself and rebuild to diamond. Like, my goal here is not to never work, but my goal here is that this is my joy. And I love what I do, right? I get to do what I love, and my business is growing continually because of the structure that has been built. And that is what I want for each one of you. I know that's what your leaders want for each one of you, but it starts here. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. Where do you feel like is going to be the hardest thing for you as you shift from like signing customers to focusing on business builders? And still signing customers, of course.
I think the hardest part, if I'm just kind of looking at this, if I'm saying something like, can you get me in front of them in the next 24 to 48 hours? The thing that comes after that is the hardest part.
Why?
I think it's probably because that's not how I've done things before.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Are we trying to convince anybody of anything?
No.
No. Does that take a little pressure off?
Absolutely.
I think if you can really look at this as honestly, like, can you get me in front of those 4 people? Okay. Hey, Allie, we're not going to try to convince them of anything. We're just going to tell them about what you're doing and where Plexus is headed and see if that's something they would be interested in doing too. But it's very clear, you guys, we're not going to try to hoodwink people. We're not going to invite people for play dates and then be like, do you want to join my team? Like, we're not doing those things. And I think sometimes we have history with things and it's like, we want to try so hard not to be slimy and salesy and all of those things. And I think that's why it's important to be upfront about it. But truly, if you don't ask for what you want, if you don't look for what you want, you're not going to find it. You're not. And so we've got to grow confident in this way. And this is the moment where I release you and I tell you, it's okay if you don't want this. Like, it's okay if in these trainings you're hearing these things and you're like, I don't know that I want that. Like, I'm actually really okay making a couple $100s a month with customers. Like, I don't think I want that. And there's a place for that. But I also think a lot of you really do want that. And you just don't quite know how to get from point A to point D. And that's where I'm hopeful that this training kind of fills in the gaps, because for me, there's nothing, literally nothing more encouraging than when I'm trained on something and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many other things I could be doing. Like, I haven't been doing those things. So like now I have new skills or new tools or new training or like new things that like I haven't done yet. And so rather than being like, yep, Tracy, I've been doing that. I've been doing that for 5 years. I tell everybody about the business 3 times. I've tell everybody to get me in 4 conversations, right? I don't think anybody on this call is like, I do that every time, but like, that would be the discouraging piece. If you're hearing this and you're like, this is no new information. Nothing here is new. This is what I do. And I'm still where I am. Then I wouldn't have words for you right now. I'd be like, maybe we need to go coach about mindset. Maybe we need to look at like other friction, right? But I think everybody here, it's like all of these each week, it's like, okay, this is something new I can try. This is something I can do differently. This is something I can do. Now, it may feel wildly uncomfortable. And honestly, it probably should. I don't know. I mean, I know some of y'all like are getting really confident in your bold business asks. And I'm really proud of you for that, because I would argue 2 months ago you weren't. And so like the more you do something, the easier it gets. And the more you practice, like what my hope is that like next year Plexus is calling for convention and they're like, your team is developing so many new business builders that we would like multiple of you on the stage together talking about how you did this. How we see 1 or 2 people really good at developing business builders, but we're talking your team is like crushing it in confident conversations and developing these 4-legged businesses. Like, I got chills just saying that, y'all. Like, can you imagine? Can you imagine? And I'm like, well, we just did what Genevieve told us to do. Like, this is it. These are my notes when I said, Genevieve, what do we do? She was like, influence alone isn't enough anymore. People are picking up influencers, y'all. They're how many of y'all are like, I shall not be influenced, and you like unfollow somebody, or you like swipe right? You know what I mean? You're like, nope, not going to be influenced, because I know that you probably don't even like the product because you're just getting paid to do that. That's me. Like, oh my gosh. People are picking up on that and they're being less influenced by people they don't know, like, know, and trust. And so we got to learn how to do this, because we got to build 4x4 businesses. So maybe that is our goal for Convention 2025. Wellness Warrior panel, because all of y'all are helping develop 4x4 businesses, bringing people in with 4 solid legs, y'all. Can you imagine if each one of you achieved Ruby, Senior Ruby, Emerald with 4 solid legs? 4 people that you were helping. This business felt less like a rat race and more like service. Like, that's the goal. But it means you got to get out of your comfort zone. I think that I'll send this kind of picture so you guys can mull it over. And then I think what I want to challenge you to do is kind of create your own checklist that you can kind of use as you're bringing in new customers. And if somebody wants to kind of share that, we could even put kind of a checklist for customers that people can follow. But right, like, did you add them to Wellness Warriors? Did you share the opportunity when they joined? Did you send them the Getting Started guide? Did you ask them to make a post when their products came? Like something like that, because the hardest part is like giving the blueprint and not sucking the life out of it and training people and also having the accountability of like, oh yeah, I don't want to forget that. But I think what's really cool is when you can kind of do that for yourself and kind of work through it in your own brain, you know, and kind of figure out yourself, like, Michelle, what do you want to say? Like, is there a sentence you want to say every time somebody joins you, or every time you're in a 3-way message and somebody joins your level 1, right? Is there a sentence you want to say? You guys can come up with that. My best tip is always end in a question. Whatever you say, always end in a question. Any questions about any of that? Thoughts? Realizations?
I'm just curious what it would look like on that call with the person. I'm still like, I think I'm still stuck there because I did a reach out for somebody and I got on the phone with her yesterday and I was like, I am like all over the place and I did not have a blueprint.
I think it starts with questions.
Yeah.
I think sometimes I do this too, Allie, where I'm like, let me just tell you everything, and then maybe he'll say yes. I don't know. But I think it starts with a question like, hey, like, was it just you and her? And she's your friend's friend?
No, this was a
Oh.
friend that I'd done like a business reach out to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's hey, like I'm just wondering, like, what made you open to this conversation?
Yeah.
And y'all, I think that's the conversation when Mary Carmen gets you on the phone, right? Not Mary Carmen, but let's say you have a new level 1 named Mary and you just did this with her and she got you on the phone with Rachel. You're like, hey, Rachel, like, how do you know Mary? Wow. Oh, that's awesome. You guys go way back. Well, hey, I know Mary because our kids go to school together, and you know, when she got started on Plexus a little bit ago, like, it was the most fun thing and we've been able to connect. I'm just wondering, like, what made you open to this conversation? Well, you know, I love Mary. And so maybe would it be helpful if there's like, trying to think like conversation guides for these, like,
Totally what I was thinking. Maybe some
yeah,
questions that spur conversation.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I did, I mean, I got to like health issues and I felt like that was most of our conversation. So it wasn't a bad call, but I was like, I floundered about with this opportunity. And so,
Well, and if the conversation was supposed to be about the opportunity, then the health issues may not even happen on that call, you know? Right?
That idea of like
Okay.
being with the end in mind, and then kind of tracking back of what
Uh-huh.
could get me there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Stephanie said you got to keep control of the call. Okay, so let's
That's what I was
talk
gonna
that
say.
through. Like what,
I mean, Tracy, I don't know, this reminds me of the very first book I read with you guys that kind of really got me fired up about Plexus in
exactly
general.
what to say?
No,
Oh,
Built to
built to last.
That one. That I go back, I mean, what Ali's saying, it just reminds me of something he said in the book about you have to present yourself as the owner. And why do you need me to spend time with you again? Like, not to sound like arrogant, but almost like this is serious, you know? So if I have this conversation, I have to have control of the conversation, like Stephanie said, but almost like you want to have those questions to drive it to where you want it to go. And maybe it just requires some practice, a roadmap, Michelle, yeah, but it's like, okay, so, hey, like, you're really interested in this person. I mean, think of it as if it's, I don't know, someone that's coming into your family and is gonna want to be part of your family. Like, you want to really know this person. And almost like, I am the head of this house. So there's some things that you need to answer. And, it's almost like, yes, you're kind of building this relationship, but almost like you're always here and this person's coming in, like, why do you need my time again? Because this is precious, valuable time I'm giving you. So why do you want to do this? Like an interview, exactly.
It's like
'Cause
an
I'm with Ali,
interview.
it gets to the
Yeah.
point, like, you talk so much
this is
then
like
that you lose the,
Yeah.
why are we doing this again? And then you get so excited that you just vomit all over. So I get what she's saying.
Hunter, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, I guess in my mind, this could be wrong, but like when we have job forms that we're sending out to our prospects, but like if it's my level one's person that she's just connecting me with and they haven't really said yes to the business, I'm not sending them that job form. However, those are still the questions that we're asking. That's still
Hunter, yes.
a piece of our
That's a great
Yeah.
point. Well, and I feel like looking at it from like a point of like, you were open to the conversation, like you agreed to this, and like, why would it's like discovering, not can I hire you, but almost like, is this a good fit for them? Do they want to do this? And getting them the information they need, like what question, almost like flipping it, like, if you were to say yes to something like this, what questions would you have for me? Right? Like,
Yeah, that's
yeah,
kind of how that call that I had with my friend last week. It was very much like before I did any word vomit was, what about this makes you excited? What about this makes you nervous? What questions do you have for me?
yeah,
And I feel like our call went really well. She hasn't signed up, but
yeah.
still went well.
Got that $1 membership. I think that's great. I mean, honestly, y'all, I think if we can get you a list of questions for like any potential business builder, here are some questions you can consider. And then even one of those bullet points could be like, let me just take a minute and share with you just a little bit of my story of why I even considered this, right? You don't go into all your health issues. You don't go into, right? It's just like, I was really struggling in my health and this friend told me about this and then it worked. And we'd been looking for a way to make income from home. And I never really thought I wanted to partner with an MLM because I'd been done dirty before, but like, this just felt a little bit different. And I decided to take a look at it and, like just really rudimentary, simple things. I think it's just getting curious. Stephanie, I'll send it to you. We had people create a jot form for the webinars I've been doing. And I don't know how to copy that link. Never mind. If you go to my Instagram profile, it's in my link tree. Kim has one too, I think. But it's just got questions for potential business builders that are like, how much would you want to earn? What makes you open this opportunity? Like just some things like that, where if you are talking to a potential business builder, you can ask them to fill it out ahead of time. That way it gives you like a blueprint picture of like who they are and what they're looking for. Do you feel like you can get to the point where this feels comfortable? Stay. I don't think, and this is just me saying this, I don't think anybody grows to the point they want to grow and they say, just don't even really know how I got here. Like, yeah, never had to have any hard conversations, never had to lead with the business, like never had to do those things. Like, I really think, especially in the Pulse right now, it like Mary and Barb, right? She was on a call for us the other night. Angie and I heard a training to do this, and I realized I wasn't doing this, and I started doing this, and so went Emerald in 4 months. And so went Diamond, like 1,500 points to Diamond in 3 months. Maintaining Diamond, not just Diamond once. Maintaining. Like this is the linchpin. This is the like, it's the piece to everybody's puzzle. I really do believe that. So homework, pack for convention, do laundry, buy an Amazon order that's going to show up today or tomorrow. I did that this morning. I was like, 5 hours. Yes. Do what you need to do there and really start to consider, what do I want? Like, what do I want? What do I want it to look like when I achieve Emerald? What do I want it to look like when I re-rank? What do I want it to look like when I hit Ruby or Senior Ruby, right? Like, what do I want that to look like? And is what I'm doing now going to get me there? Or do I need to implement these new things? Okay. And then I want you to start kind of thinking, like, I picture things out in my head before they actually happen. I don't know if anybody else does that, but I'll like picture conversations and then I'll go have them. So if there are any VIPs who you haven't told about the opportunity, y'all, that's an easy place to start. Voice message. They already love you. They already love Plexus. You can't screw it up that bad, okay? Voice message and then a question. Fun fact on Messenger, for example, like Amy, you could send Michelle a message, voice message, and it could be to Shelly. And then you get it like you want it. And Michelle says, hey, like I would tweak this or I would tweak that, or I think that sounds good. And then you can hit forward and you can forward that to Shelly. And sometimes I think we just need to practice things because we're like, I speak less than a week from now, and here's my speech. I have it printed out. I voice recorded myself and I'm listening to it. I'm practicing once a day or twice a day. I want to become so familiar with it that if the teleprompt broke, like I could get there. I could get from A to D and like I wouldn't die. And that's what this really is. It's becoming so comfortable doing these things that like you have the checklist or you have the blueprint, but like you just, you know your goals and you know you have to do this. And so you got to get good at it. So that's the goal. Why don't we all, like, while we're traveling, kind of make, because Julie, you're traveling too. You're just not traveling where we're traveling, and that makes me really sad. Julie's going on a mission trip to Japan, in case you missed it. And so she's not going to be in Vegas, but she'll be there in heart. But think through this. What would a new customer kind of checklist look like, right? What are the things I want to be doing with each new customer? Do I need to print those out and write a customer's name at the top and make checklists? Well, and there may be some things that we do come up with as a team and add to the tools page, but I'm going to be honest, like, I think right now the key piece is us all learning together. It's like us all learning together and kind of working through this together. I think of like Allie making sourdough and like kneading and kneading and kneading, and like we're kneading together, and like Michelle could have come in with the ready-made sourdough, but then we don't actually know how to make sourdough. Like Michelle did it. And nobody else knows how, but they eat it and it's really good, and they put jelly on it and it's really good. But I really do think it's important. Like, you guys are the leaders of this team. You're the leader of your team. It's really important that you know how to knead the dough, that you're confident with what ingredients go into this dough, that you are confident with how long to bake it, that you can honestly be the leader of your team. That's what's really important. And while you may not be the leader of a team yet, the goal is that you will be, whether that's tomorrow or 5 years from now. Some of you may need the dough real quick and be like, I got this, let's go. Others of you, it may take a little longer, and that's okay. So I can't believe I just used a sourdough analogy, but I did. Okay, any questions before we go, y'all? None. None. Okay. Well, y'all. Vegas, here we come.
Are we gonna-
Hunter. What?
You had mentioned that we were gonna talk about convention. Is there anything specific we need to know about?
No, does anybody
Anything?
have questions? About that?
I
Hold
have
on,
a
let me,
question.
hold on, let me,